Stand behind me, come one day. I know not that I'm ready yet. For finally I can say it's a different world. Ooh, than where you come from. The city is not, yeah. Here's our chance to make it. And if we focus on our goal, you can decide, we can take. Yeah, hey, just remember that you can too. It's a different world. It's a different world. It's a different world. It's a different world. And where you come from. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And where you come from. What's going on, you guys? It's been some weeks. It's been 2 weeks. And I had this scheduled. This live was supposed to happen Friday, but CPT. Hi everyone. Hey King Roman. I've been following you. I like your channel and your stalking of that one person that I'm not going to name him. But hi, happy Monday after Thanksgiving. It went by quick, didn't it? Like all of a sudden, hey, the holiday's over, but we still have Christmas and New Year's, right? Speaking of, I know I'm like several days late. I hope you guys like my Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. Yes, I am a white man that worked in a chocolate factory and would eat people glasses. That's Jeffrey Dahmer. Speaking of Jeffrey Dahmer, somebody who should be Dahmered out. I guess I'll just go into the McMichael's case very briefly, since we all know what the verdict was. The verdict was on our side with having those white supremacists get found guilty. Now, that is a win for us, but this should be normal, right? When people shouldn't be going out hunting for people, right? I'm just, and it's just so funny. People are still talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse case, which that's a disappointment, but it seems like it's a little calculated, right? I mean, we also have, there's also a trial going on, I believe the Jussie Smollett trial is about, I said it, the Jussie Smollett trial is about to happen in Chicago, in which, okay, if he lied, okay, give him a fine. But what Chicago PD is doing is trying to make basically it's revenge. So that's another case that's popping up. But going back to the McMichael's trial. Oh yeah, King Ramon, thank you. Thanks, man. Thanks. It's sad that, I know I celebrate it, but I didn't celebrate too hard because this may be one trial, but there's others and several that are similar to the unfortunate brother's demise, that those people, those white supremacists are still out there. And a lot of them they wear a uniform. So I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And, there's so many unsolved, crimes that are still going on. We still have the Jelani Day case. I think I spoke on him several lives before, previous lives, excuse me. That's the brother whose organs were not found. They found him, and I believe outside a river or lake outside Chicago in the suburbs. So, I mean, that case is still important. There are some brothers that did get exonerated. One in my home state of Missouri just got exonerated for rape. And the brother that was exonerated, I want to get his name. Let me get, because this is also a really important case. to pay attention to out of my home state of misery. Let's see. Black man exonerated. Oops, oop, 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 oop. Rated in. Ah, here we go. Okay, so this is his name is Kevin Strickland. So unfortunately, hey DJ XOXO, hi. I'm sporting my Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. I don't like humans. But thank you. Thank you. You're gorgeous as well, too. I loved when you cammed up. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's camming up. So Kevin Strickland was the brother that was just exonerated out of my bogus ass home state of misery. So there was a GoFundMe that started for this brother. Let's just read. Over 1.5 million has been donated from a GoFundMe page created for Kevin Strickland, a black man who spent more than 40 years in a Missouri prison. Now, I was born in Missouri, so dude, I wasn't even born yet when this guy unfortunately was locked up wrongfully. For a triple murder he did not commit. Thousands of supporters have flocked to his page in recent days, boasting about the amount significantly after the Missouri Court of Appeals judge ordered Strickland's immediate release and overturned his conviction on this previous Tuesday. According to the New York Times, Strickland currently does not have a bank account because brother has been in jail since 1981, a phone or a government-issued ID. But that all should change. Tricia Rioja Bushell, one of Strickland's lawyers and executive director of the Midwest Innocence Project, organized the online fundraiser. She told the Times that Strickland will receive the full amount of donations as soon as he has a bank account. The Midwest Innocence Project also plans to provide the 62-year-old with a financial advisor to help him handle his money. Raising funds for the newly released kind is part of what the Missouri-based nonprofit does. But she was surprised by the amount that was raised. Until the system has changed, where the system is failing, the community is stepping in to fix it, to fill in the void, which Bushell stated. Strickland's lawyer said, now this is important about the case. Strickland's lawyer said that since he was exonerated without DNA evidence, he was disqualified from being compensated by the state of Missouri, despite spending well over half his life behind bars. You get that? The courts failed me, and that's who should be trying to make my life a little more comfortable, Strickland told the Times a few days after his release. I really do appreciate the donations and contributions. They may try to help me acclimate into society. Revolt reported in 1978, Strickland was arrested when he was 18 years old and accused of killing 3 people in Kansas City. The following year, he was sentenced to life in prison after an all-white jury found him guilty of a count of capital murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. There was no physical evidence tying Strickland to the crime, but the shooter's lone survivor, Cynthia Douglas, identified him as one of the gunmen to police. She later then misidentified Strickland and reached out to the Midwest Innocence Project in an effort to free him before her death in 2015. Soon, Strickland will be a millionaire, and he plans on leaving Missouri. Do what I did, leave misery. And pursuing his dream of buying a small piece of land outside of the city. I'll build a small house, a small bedroom, 2 to 3 bedroom house, have me some chickens, 4 or 5 dogs, a fishing pond somewhere close with a big fence where nobody can get in, he told me. Oh, that's painful. Hey, female Army veteran, how are you, my dear? See, this is heartbreaking. He basically is isolating himself because this brother has been behind bars, wrongly accused for the past 40 years. And all he knows is isolation. And then especially what my home shitty state of misery.
Um, he can't sue the state either because I think there's I think I was listening someplace on Roland Martin that it's going to be harder for him to sue the state of Missouri due to the whole DNA evidence. And it's so funny, this man is exonerated, yet this man cannot get his social security as benefits due to what the state and what the prosecutors did to this man, innocent man. Uh, so yeah, that was a heavy one to start, huh? But that is something else that's in the news that's you know that's really really weighing down. I mean, we have a bunch of these exonerations going on. Like we have the two brothers, elders at this point, who were exonerated from the murder of Malcolm X, and then this one that happened last week, I believe. Yes, on Tuesday. Tuesday must have been Exonerate a Negro Day, because this was another exoneration that happened. Fort Leonard Wood, female. I'm from Springfield, Missouri, the Ozarks originally. So I spent many weekends because I had a stepfather who was based in Fort Leonard Wood, so I would go there. Very familiar. Not a fan. um, so this was another one that happened the same day as the Strickland case. So this happened on Tuesday, November 23rd. Four black men exonerated more than 70 years after being wrongly accused of raping a white teen. So this one is coming from CNN. The families of the Groveland Four, I hope you guys know this story. These were young boys. Um, got some closure on Monday after Florida officially cleared the four young black men. Boys, they weren't men. Oh, it's trouble. Smash it, Trish. This is how you do a show that with really great commentary and history. I'm just throwing shade. Female, see, yeah. My grandparents had a company down there, so that's why, you know, born and raised, and like my aunts and uncles and my mom, but we escaped. So, yeah, you feel my pain. We're here. Let's see. So, these young four black boys were wrongly accused of raping a 17-year-old white girl back in 1949. Circuit Court Judge Heidi Davis in Lake County, Florida, granted the state's motion to permissively dismiss the indictments of Ernest Thomas, Samuel Shepard, and vacate the convictions of Charles Greenlee and Walter Irvin in the case known as the Groveland Four. I would not hate, but I would love and embrace all of those who did not at the time. That my father was a caring, loving, and compassionate person that did not rape anybody. I stand here today to thank you, said emotional Carol Greenlee, the daughter of Charles Greenlee. Ooh, I just got a little bit of, just to chill up my spine. The fact that this young daughter at the time was not able to have her father due to what the American justice system is really good at, wrongfully accusing people of crimes, especially if you're Negro. I'm going to be shade. You're being shady. So I'm going to throw shade. Um, let's see. Uh, in 1949, Greenlee, Irvin, Shepard, and Thomas were accused of sexually assaulting Norma Paget in Groveland, Florida, about 30 miles west of Orlando. The group came to be known as the Groveland Four. The case was considered one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in the Jim Crow era of Florida. Florida is still in Jim Crow. There were doubts about Paget's testimony from the onset, but in the era of Jim Crow, a jury convicted men without evidence. For 72 years, these families have been living with and traveling with this journey, waiting for today, said Bill Glasson. Before I go on, we're talking about families. We're talking about young men, young boys whose lives were taken They might as well have been murdered. No, just imagine the brutality that these men dealt with while even in jail. I mean, I'm sure the guards weren't friendly. I'm sure the warden wasn't pleasant. I'm sure the warden and the guards probably had paid the inmates to do some work on these brothers. That shit happens. It's part of prison culture, isn't it? Um, let's see. Uh, For 72 years, the families have been living with this and traveling with this journey, waiting for today, said Bill Gladstone, the state's attorney. After Monday's hearing, Gladstone, a Republican, moved last month to have the men officially exonerated. None of the men are still alive. Whew, that's heavy. Uh, Once we found the evidence and it revealed what it revealed, the result in the motion that you saw today, he said. State Representative Randolph Bracey, a Democrat, said while the exoneration does not fix the racial injustice that so goes on in our pervasive, in our criminal justice system, the motion gave the family some closure and offered some hope. Hope to sue the fuck out of the state of Florida. I believe reckoning with the past and correcting gross injustice does put the path into creating a fairer and more equal court system. For 70 years, these four men had their history wrongly written for the crimes they did not commit. As I said before, while that long time had to wait, it was never too late to do the right thing. De Satan said, I believe in the rule of law. No, you don't. Okay, that's De Satan. I'm not a fan of De Satan. So he's just doing this because, politicians got to do their part. Representative Chris Sprouse said, as a state, we are truly sorry to the men's families after lawmakers unanimously voted to exonerate them. I'm just happy, yet not that happy that these men were not put to death like so many others. I mean, this shit is still happening to this very day. I just talked about the brother from Kansas City. Sorry, I'm a Missourian. I call it that. That just got exonerated for 40 years. There's been so many stories within this month of brothers getting exonerated. It's just, and yet I still feel like we're in Jim Crow. Yeah. Right, DJ XO? I'm going to drop the link just to see if anybody shows up. If not, I'll talk to people still, no problem there. Paste it. There we go. Copied and paste. Oh, this is the story. So we'll go through this. We'll finish this story and then we'll move on to something happier with snow cones and rainbows and tippy toes. Paget claimed on the night of July 16th, 1949, her car broke down in Groveland. She said that four scary black men stopped and raped her. She didn't say four scary black men. I just added that, but she was thinking that. She said four men stopped and raped her. The men were arrested. Three of them were tortured until police were able to elicit a confession from them, forced confessions. Thomas, who managed to escape custody, was killed after a manhunt. Greenlee was sentenced to life in prison. Wow, Jesus Christ. Shepard and Irvin received the death penalty while being transported from county jail for a retrial. The sheriff shot them both and claimed self-defense. Shepard died at the scene and Irvin survived by playing dead. His sentence was later commuted to a life in prison. Jesus Christ, dude. Gilbert Keene wrote in the case in his Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Devil in the Grove, Thurgood Marshall, the Groveland Boys, the dawn, the day of America. We need courage, Aaron Newsom, Aaron Thomas, nephew, oh, excuse me, Aaron Newsom, Aaron Thomas's nephew, said fighting off tears in front of cameras today following the court hearing. A lot of families did not get this opportunity. Maybe they will. Maybe this is the start of something good. I hope so. This country needs to come together. Ooh, I almost got emotional reading that. Jesus Christ. Mm, that there were no cameras, none of these. There were none of these at the time. So, but does that really matter in today's age anyway? I mean, police wear cameras now supposedly, and they're still found not guilty. Like they tortured. So now, I mean, here's the thing. So those rapes became, they weren't solved. So no telling how many more victims this rapist did. And here's also a fact to think about too. Did I hate to say this, but especially at the time, was she sexually assaulted? Was she having an affair? Was she sexually assaulted by someone she knew? That which happens quite often. And she was too in fear because this was something that they would do, especially at that time. Let me stop saying especially at that time. This was something normal, like that if women were scared, if it was someone they knew, they would blame someone else. Why not blame those colored boys that live down the street? I mean, how do you think the Tulsa riots started? Oof, that was a heavy story, dude. Ooh. So, yeah, I think I'm done for the heavy shit for today. Ooh, try not to cry on YouTube. Mm-mm. Um, Now let's get into some YouTube news. Fun stuff. Girl, that Jeff Epstein chick. Oh no, that's Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell's completely. That's a different. Ooh, that's a different story. Oh, King Ramon 83 was asking about Ghislaine Maxwell. I hope you guys are familiar with her father. I'll go into that really quickly because Ghislaine Maxwell comes from a lot of money. I believe her father, who was a crook, surprise. I believe he was about to get indicted um, for, oh, let's see. Parents, Robert Maxwell. So, oh, I'm sorry. Robert Maxwell was also the former member of parliament. So he worked for the government. Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, very powerful family, yet crooked as fuck. I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Ghislaine Maxwell, they're watching her like a hawk because they honestly don't want her to Jeff Epstein herself, which I don't think Jeff Epstein killed himself. This is just my opinion. I think that he possibly was wiped out because he knew too much, he had too much, and he had a lot of powerful people that he knew, and he was hiding their secrets, and he was going to tell. And the rich and wealthy don't like it when you tell their secrets. So they are powerful enough to. So Ghislaine thought that she could run away to, was it New Hampshire or Vermont? Yeah. And she was basically, they were boyfriend, girlfriend for 20 plus years. So she was kind of like the madam. I mean, they're both equally as bad because as a woman, you're putting these young girls up on auction basically to please people like, should I even call him Prince Andrew? PDO Andrew? I mean, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton. just a lot of people. Um, kind of it. The whole thing kind of reminds me a little bit of these people knew, but they didn't say anything. Kind of like Weinstein, but with Ghislaine, oh, they're watching her like a hawk. I think she will tell, but I think she's not going to tell too much because I think, she's in government custody and the government, they're powerful and they can make people disappear, or they could say, do tell us, but don't tell us too much. If you dig what I'm saying. Um, she's going to go to jail. Joe Biden's son, Bo, yeah, he's a weirdo. He's such a weirdo. There's King Ramon brought up Jim Crow. Let me stop. Joe Biden's son, Bo Biden. That boy been through some things, and I don't. He gives me that. He doesn't give me Epstein vibes, but he gives me a William Kennedy Smith Jr. vibe, who used to always come into the restaurant that I worked at, and I waited on him. If you guys don't know who William Kennedy Smith Jr. is, look him up, and it should say something about rape in Miami in 1991 or 92. Creepy. But yeah, I think Ghislaine is definitely. So that trial is going on. They're being really hush hush about that. I see it in the papers and stuff, but I noticed the spotlight isn't much on that trial. That's funny. I knew the trial was coming up, Jeff and King, but it's funny how the media, they're picking and choosing what stories to bring out the most. Now they have it in the New York Times and the Washington Post, CNN, the Daily Beast. Wait, the Daily Beast says what? Uh, schoolgirl outfits gifts to teens, sex abuse everyday Fed slam. Okay. So this is the day one, which was today of the trial. Let's get into it briefly. So this is Ghislaine. They were young girls who dreamed of becoming professional musicians or models or actresses, but often came from poor families and their parents needed money. They were perfect targets for a pair of high society predators who dazzled them with fabulous wealth and promised them the world, who allegedly groomed, molested, and raped them. Such was the story presented by federal prosecutors on the first day of Ghislaine Maxwell's trial and the connection of multimillionaire Epstein. The 59-year-old British heiress is accused of pursuing underage girls for Epstein to molest in what prosecutors called a pyramid scheme of abuse. 4 victims will testify that Maxwell participated in the sex ring, including one who says the couple involved her in a group sexual massages, oh God, when she was only 14 years old. Maxwell has denied the charges. Bitch, you guilty. The jury will hear from Epstein's pilots, house staff, members of law enforcement, and even former employees of the multimillionaire. Evidence of the trial will include a schoolgirl outfit, flight vlogs. We know about the flight vlogs or logs, and FedEx record. These rich motherfuckers really thought they had a paper trail, didn't they? And FedEx records showing Epstein's gifts to a girl who was only 15 years old. Jesus Christ. Maxwell's lawyers hit back, claiming she was being scapegoated for Epstein's crime. Ever since Eve was accused of tempting Adam with the apple, women are blamed for the bad behavior of men. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to use feminism to cover up your molestation and sex trafficking. We're not doing that, white lady. No, wealthy white lady who were using poor young girls This is about class. This story, we talked about race, now we're talking about class and I guess and class and abuse. Let's see. The charges against Ghislaine Maxwell for things Jeffrey Epstein did, but she is not Jeffrey Epstein. She is not like Jeffrey Epstein. This is what her lawyers are saying. She is not like every other powerful man. You see what they're doing? Let me repeat this. She is not like Jeffrey Epstein. She is not like every other powerful men, moguls, media giants who abuse women. Y'all try to play the bitch card? Take off my Jeffrey Dahmers. Y'all really trying to play the woman card? When it comes to rape and abuse and grooming? Oh, honey, no. Oh, and then the funny thing is, I mentioned her father. Check out this reverse shit. She is not like other powerful men like her daddy, who moguls like her daddy, media giants like her daddy, who I believe owned either the New York Times or New York Post for a hot minute back in 1991 or 92, which got him in trouble. And he was about to get arrested and indicted. I think, yeah. Yes, very, very tied to the royal family. That family is corrupt too. What were you saying? The dirt on Epstein had. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna lie about that one, man. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Riot Girl. Yeah. I mean, you know, these are powerful people who can do whatever they want. I mean, if you want to be, I mean, if you're wealthy, I'm not talking about rich, but if you're wealthy, you have the power to do icky shit like this. And what got, Epstein was locked up the first time, I believe, in 2008 or 2009 in Florida. And he would have to come to jail to sleep at night, but was able to go back in and out of jail whenever he felt like it. You know why? Because I believe one of the people, the district attorney for Jeffrey Epstein, or the district attorney in Florida at the time, who worked in the Trump administration this recently, was I believe the either the attorney general or the state attorney. I have to do more research on that, on nasty ass Jeffrey Epstein. Hold on. Let me get my facts straight. I don't want to lead you guys the wrong way because I hate that shit. Let's see. And well, the sad thing about Jeffrey Epstein, we'll never know everything. He took it to the grave. And then all that money, where's all that money? And by the way, this dude, Jeffrey Epstein, was not educated. He was street educated. He lied about going to, I think, was it Yale or Harvard? He would always wear a Harvard sweatshirt and pretend. And he was a crook, basically. He pretended his way to wealth. Shit, something I wish I could do, but not the Epstein way. Oh shit. Yes. So, sex offender who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He began his professional life teaching at the Dalton School, which is a prestigious school. Despite lacking a college degree, after his dismissal from the school, he entered banking in the financial sector for Bear Stearns. So, when he was teaching at the Dalton School, he met. Yes. He lied about going to Jeff. I don't even have to read it anymore. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Jeff says it right here, ladies and gentlemen. He's another one. Mm-hmm. Them bills, dude. I mean, don't you find Bill Gates creepy anyway? Like my husband, he used to, work for Microsoft back in the day, and he's met him. He said he's a nice guy, but now finding all these are Bill Gates creepy guys. See, damn it, Dahmer and Gates. My Dahmer Gates glasses. Ooh, yeah, creepy. Um, but I was trying to figure out the criminal. Okay, the criminal chart. No, let's go back. Wikipedia is your friend. Ooh, let's see. Okay, so it talks about in 2005 he was started to get investigated, and a parent complained about he had sexually abused a 14-year-old girl. In 2008, he was convicted by Florida State in pursuing child prostitution. He served almost 13 months in custody, but extensive work release. That was what I was talking about earlier about the work release, where they would allow him to come back and sleep in the jail. And then in the day, he can go back to his nice Palm Beach to work, whatever. He was convicted only of 2 crimes in a controversial plea deal. Federal officials had identified 36 girls, some as young as 14, who Epstein allegedly abused. So this is from 2008. Aha. Um, Legal proceedings. I'm looking for the here it is. During the investigation, this is the one from 2008. During the investigation, Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reitner publicly accused the Palm Beach State Prosecutor Barry Kirshner. That's who I was thinking of, Barry Kirshner, uh, of being too lenient and called for help from the FBI. That's who I was talking about, Kirshner, Barry Kirshner, who gave him just a slap on the wrist. And mind you, Kirshner got to go off and work for the Trump administration. So there's a bunch of pedos that worked in that administration, whatever. The FBI then became involved, and subsequently the police alleged that Epstein had paid several girls to perform sexual acts with him. Interviews of 5 alleged victims, 17 witnesses under oath, and a high school transcript. Damn. The police search of Epstein's home found 2 hidden cameras and large numbers of photos of girls throughout the house. This is, by the way, this is still the 2008 case. Let's see. Photos of girls throughout the house, some of whom the police had interviewed in the course of their investigation. Adriana Ross, a former model from Poland, who became Epstein's assistant, reportedly removed computer drives and other electronic equipment from the financier's mansion. The court documents recorded that the search of Epstein's residence in Palm Beach, Detective Joseph Lecurry in 2005 uncovered an incriminating Amazon receipt containing books on sex slavery. What the fuck? Ew. A former employee told the police that Epstein would receive massages 3 times a day. Eventually, the FBI compiled reports of 34 confirmed minors eligible for restitution, increased to 40 in the NPA, whose allegations of sexual abuse by Epstein included collaborating details. It wasn't until 2018, Julie Brown's 2018 expose in the Miami Herald identified about 80 victims and located about 60 of them. She quotes the police then, Reitner says this was 50-something she's and one of he. And the she's are all basically told the same story. Right, Jeff? So much for that. I'm going to drop this down one more time. Man. Oh, such vileness. I mean, I guess it's good people like that are on this earth anymore, but we needed him to get the bad guys, but the bad guys got to him first. So yeah, I mean, this goes on. I mean, shit. It took 2018. That's And I believe one of the victims is now married, living in either New Zealand or Australia. So yeah, oof. But the trial, I'm going to be paying attention to the Ghislaine Maxwell case now. Um, I just am not. It's so funny that how the media wants to pick and choose. Like, this is a big story, and I just really find it vile and disgusting that her fucking defense would use the woman card. She's not like most powerful men that ran media corporations and were also what was the other one? Moguls, like her daddy. Yeah, she going to jail. I mean, there's just. But now I'm intrigued. Thank you. I think it was King Ramon that I'm gonna be paying attention now because I remember them. They mentioned it last week. So, oh man, those were some heavy notes. Let's stretch it out. Come on, guys. Yeah, stretch, stretch, stretch. Uh oh, device is not connected. It looks like you're not connected. Probably want to try to come back. Oh wait, let's see. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Good.
That sounds like good.
Can you hear me?
I can. Loud and clear.
Yeah, nice to be on the show. Thank you so much,
You're
Toya.
very welcome. It's getting dark out here soon, so I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes. I thank you for listening and coming on, and I like your comments so much for draining the swamp. Uh,
No, thank you. I really I love shows like this. I try to stay like I don't mind listening to drama. I'll keep it under 3 minutes, but I don't mind listening to drama. But I love shows like this when we engage in real world problems. Like
Absolutely.
like this has affected people in their real lives, far as the girls that have been affected by Epstein, the people that have invested and have been swindled by Epstein, and by the Maxwell family.
Yes.
And it's funny because, like you said, they're playing this woman card, and they're probably going to run with it, just from the simple fact that because she's a woman, they're going to make it seem like she's very docile. She had, you know, the way that they showed the documentary, they kind of made it look like Epstein was. Did you see the Netflix documentary?
I saw part of it. They didn't mention her enough.
Yes, correct. And that was my thing with it. It's like they're trying to push it all on Epstein, and now Epstein's dead, and they're like, okay, well, the monster's dead. No, it's not. But there's
No.
still, you cut one head off, you need to get the other one. You know,
Exactly.
so
And she.
that's. I'm sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, so my thing is, they need to. She needs to suffer the same fate that Epstein was going to go to. Not the death part, but she needs to face justice. She needs to
Absolutely.
face her accusers. She needs to face all the victims because she had a very heavy hand in this, as far as financial and the emotional distress that she caused to these women.
For life.
Yes.
For life. I mean, and the thing is, what the vile, disgusting thing about it, and I think one of the reasons why people aren't focusing on the case that much because of the high profile people that were involved, that were in
Yes.
the booklet. I think it's also too because she comes from wealth. This is where
Mhm.
another ism comes in. It's called classism. And these young girls came from, I'm not going to say they all came from a broken home, but they didn't come from the wealth of the Maxwell family. And so
Yeah.
it's just, I find it funny how the media is like, they have it some parts, but it's not in shiny big lights in contrast to like when Weinstein got busted, and then R. Kelly we knew about R. Kelly, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
And Epstein. And so, I mean, I just find it really, really vile, as women usually are the victims of sex trafficking and rape, that she would pull that sick, horrible, like
Mhm.
it just. Mm-mm.
Yes, I agree. And it, I remember going through this case and seeing the documentary at the same time. A lot of these women, they didn't, majority of these girls that they were being picked up and women that were being picked up, a lot of them went to Yale. Some of them went to, a lot of the girls that were, when he, in his Florida estate, because the estate is still there, but it's apparently still in his name, but the compound is closed down. So his compound was not too far from a high school, and he would find, he would have people that worked in, well, they claimed that they had people that were working near the school, and then they would convince one girl like, hey, go to Epstein, if you're looking for some extra money. You see that part?
Right. Oh,
And
oh yeah.
and
Which that's
then
what young
Epstein,
girls do. I
yep.
mean, sorry, it happens, but go ahead. Continue.
So it snowballed. They got one girl to do it, and then they say, hey, if you got any friends that want some extra money to do massages, you tell them. And that's how the connection started. So it was more and more and more. So he had compounds in the islands. He had a compound out.
That's the
I think he
scary
had
one. The
he had
island
one in the middle. He had one in the middle of the desert.
in New
And I was
Mexico.
like, yep. And I was like, that's freaking crazy. And he
And
had
no,
another one he had a backwoods compound in New York where Maxwell Hyde hid when Epstein was going to prison.
hmm
Well, quote unquote prison. I mean, I don't know it. It's so funny because there's so many high profile, not to get off subject, so many high profile people that have gone to jail or prison, and they got like the most lavish setup in prison, like Bernie
Club
Madoff.
Club Fed.
Yeah, Bernie Madoff had carpet in his jail cell. Like that's crazy.
Right. I mean,
Oh my
and he just died. So, but those people's lives that he destroyed, this motherfucker was at, excuse my language, Club Fed. And I mean, these people's money, they will never get back. Never what he did with that pyramid scheme.
And you know what? The way Epstein, with Epstein, the same thing. The lives that he has destroyed. Now that he's dead, I don't think he was the sole cause of his own death.
Nope.
Just on the simple fact you think about the security guard issue, the cameras, all that stuff, all that at once is ridiculous, and it's never happened in history. Like, and then you're telling me that all these cameras that were in there, the camera that was in there with him, all that stuff wasn't working. The security guards were asleep. You already went over that, and it's like, how is all of that? What kind of coincidence? Where do they do that at? Where all of this ties up into one coincidence, and they go, yeah, I mean, it happens. The guards fall asleep and the cameras aren't working. Really? And then he hangs himself. Like he is pretty much the only witness that we had. Well, not witness, but one of the main defendants in this case, and he's dead.
Right.
Like somebody could have lost their job
A
about
high
that.
profile case, and then it sounds like a movie, but it happens constantly
Yep.
to us poor bastards who don't have Epstein money. But even with the Epstein case, you mean to tell me it just sounds like perfect for a setup. It's like it just all the signs are there. Oh, the cameras weren't working. The guard fell asleep. And all these excuses. I'm like, nah, this was an inside. Someone got paid to get rid of him.
I believe it's my opinion. I believe there was a group, just like what was assembled when Kennedy was assassinated. They had a group that had a closed door meeting and say, hey, this guy's got to go because all our names are tied to this guy. He has dirt on us. He's got to go. Because if
Yeah.
he starts singing, we're all locked up. Like I remember the news. I was watching a news report, and they were going through Epstein's penthouse in New York, and they pulled out this wax painting. And I typed it in chat of Bill Clinton in a red dress, and I was like, "What is that?" No, it was the same dress that Monica Lewinsky was in, but
Oh,
he had his
it's
yeah.
the I remember it's the Gap navy blue dress.
Yes, it was that same dress with his head, painted. It was a wax. So somebody took their time to paint this thing and put his head on that. And I was like, okay, this guy's got some dirt. Like you think about that, it's like, okay, if you fuck with me, I'm gonna sell this painting, and it's gonna be out there,
Like
and you got
even
to deal with.
Naomi Campbell got strife because she used to hang out. Like I don't think she was involved in any of the trafficking, but it's like one of those like people who hung out with like Weinstein. They knew but didn't say anything, kind of
Chris
thing.
Tucker was hung out with Epstein a lot, apparently, and now he's getting backlash for it. They're like, hey, you were on his plane because his name was in the flight book.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. I don't think it was to the island compound. I think it was to one of the other compounds. He was like, "Hey, me and him were just great friends." I didn't know anything. I mean, we don't know what to believe because anything could come out. Maxwell could come out and say, "Yeah, Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was there, and this happened. Just for whatever." And then they one of the dukes. I forgot his name. That in the UK. Remember, they had that picture of him with that
Andrew,
lady,
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew, and he's saying, "Oh, she just happened to be there, and we took a photo." Really?
This
You're
goofy
the Duke.
ass. Ugh.
You're a Duke, and a random human being just walks up to you and wants to take a picture, and you do it. That's ridiculous.
That's yeah. And I do remember that's one of the victims. I forgot her name, but she gave great description of like, he was sweaty. I just felt uncomfortable. You know,
Hmm.
he talked about his family with me. I just, just all these things. You just got a visual of him, what he was doing to her. And every time I would see that picture of them too, I'm just like, ooh, cringe. And he's still walking around.
Yep.
He's
I
still
mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to a person that's so high pro? Like his family at this point are like neck and neck with. I mean, the only other level is God. Like they're that high up in society. What could the average person or even law enforcement do to them? Nothing. Not even their own law enforcement can do anything to them. They're exonerated from everything.
right. I mean, they
Like
have a history of murdering people, so
missing people, all types of stuff. Even our own politicians missing people, people being murdered, and then their uncle happens to be a congressman, and all of a sudden his charges are dropped, and they're like, "Oh, it had nothing to do with that." Sure, yeah,
I
right.
mean, did Ted Kennedy get in trouble for was it Chatta I could never pronounce it. Chattapakowit? Do you know that
No,
story, right?
yeah, yeah. They none of them get in trouble. It's either if they go against the grain, they get assassinated. But if they keep their mouth shut and something bad happens, nothing happens to them. None of them. Like remember the whole thing with it was a back and forth thing. First it was Clinton going to jail, nothing. Then Trump gets in the office. Trump's going to jail. He gets out. Nothing. It's a dog and pony show. It's just for the simple-minded people. It's just like sports. The simple-minded people pick sides, and it's either I hate you because you're a Democrat. I hate you or you're a Republican. For being a Republican. And it's like, dude, we are playing into their puppet strings. Because it's like at the end of the day, it's funny because I have a friend that used to work with Dick Cheney. And it's funny because there was a guy that Dick Cheney, when he was Bush's vice president, when he
I think it was President. I think it was President Dick Cheney. He was the puppet master.
yeah, I agree with that.
He's
It's
Dr.
funny
Evil for
because
real. He's Dr. Evil for real, y'all.
the stories he told me about him are crazy. He worked with him closely, so he told me that there was another senator that he really didn't like, apparently in the in the spotlight. So NBC or Fox and CNN would go at each other. Oh, such and such said this about such and such about Dick Cheney, and he remembers helping Dick Cheney and getting his paperwork together, and they were going out to a steak dinner. And the same senator that apparently they were beefing back and forth, they were sitting next to each other laughing and drinking. And it's like, so in the public, you hate each other, but in private, and you guys got all of the diplomats are eating together, everything's fine. There is no issue.
Exactly.
But when out in the public, for us, I hate this person, I hate that person.
They do that on purpose.
Yep.
And I've been trying to tell people, because I am a progressive, but progressive means making movement. To me, that doesn't mean right or left. The word progressive means moving forward. And so with that, hold on. There we go. With that being said, I keep trying to tell people who are, they're just strictly Democrat or strictly Republican, though I've majority of my life voted Democrat, these corporations are using us as pawns. The money is not going to us. It's not about who's left or who's right centered. It's about the fact that, they're trying to pivot us against each other. And so it's like a sport. It's a dangerous blood sport, especially right now, what's going on.
Yes, I agree. So I'm not going to keep you much longer. All I'm going to say is people need to stop playing in, just like you said, people need to stop playing into this petty game of Democrat and Republican, progressive and libertarian. They need to just stop it. I wish there was a way that we can just, well, you know what? I guess in a way you need two sides for checks and balances. But at this point, it's gotten so bad that we're having, riots in the streets. People can't even, like, I went to Florida this past July just as a vacation. And I ran into somebody that lived, and it's funny because he's from Indianapolis. This guy, he said, yeah, I saw you had a t-shirt, and I'm from Detroit. I said, I saw you have a t-shirt that said Detroit on it. And I was like, yeah, I'm from Detroit, but I moved, down south. And they were like, oh, okay. Well, we come down on vacation all the time. We had a great conversation until he said, yeah, we come to Florida all the time because we got to get away from the Democrats. From that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm done with the conversation because I'm uncomfortable. You're one of those kind of people where your life is bent up because of politics. Like, that's crazy.
See, now you have to understand, too, there's something else going on where it's not just regular Republicans. They're now called Trumplicans because it's a cult. Because you have Trumplicans, because you mentioned Dick Cheney earlier. Those are the OG Republicans, and his crazy ass, well, she's not crazy, but Liz Cheney, who is being ousted from the Trumplicans. Which I find really hilarious because I could remember like protesting during the Bush era, and I thought Dick Cheney's the worst. Blah blah. Do you know about him and Alabama? And he shot his friend in the face and never got charged, which is pure evil. That's evil, dude.
It's more evil than that. Remember, he's had, I think, 2 heart transplants.
Yes, a kid died.
Yeah, and it's funny because the last one that he had, the family, I guess they, it was something that they held close to their heart. And I guess, you would hope to hear something from this guy, heard nothing. Cool. And he didn't even say thank you. Like, I got the heart, F you. Latoya, thanks again.
You're welcome.
I'm not going to hold you because it's starting to get
dark. No, it's all good.
You, so.
Thank you for reminding me about those transplants. I'm like, I guess you can't kill evil. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you probably can. All right, I'll be in the chat. You have a good one.
Thank you for coming up, Jeff. Oh, yay, Jeff. Thank you for coming up. Dude, that was awesome. Hey, it's getting dark. My light's gone. I'm turning into midnight. My oh yeah, my plant lights are on, but I'm gonna have to lean in like this, and I look kind of stupid, fading into darkness. Anywho, that is the end of the show. FYI, there'll be a movie on Harry Winchell. Thank you, Riot Girl. I'll be doing my research and checking that out. Thank you. This was a great show. I thought we were going to get into some like stupid stuff. Thank you again, Jeff, for coming up. We had some serious topics. We started off with the McMichaels case. They're going to jail and in hell. Jeffrey Dahmer treatment. Hashtag. We talked about the exoneration of these brothers recently. The Ghislaine trial, Maxwell trial is going on. So, and Epstein. And then Jeff came up and we just talked about powerful people and how they get away with things. And we had a safe conversation about politics. It's called safe. I mean, I miss having these conversations. I mean, I'm sure him and I don't agree with everything, but I know we at least agree on having a basic human right. So, and that's what some of these politicians are actually. We're the peasants, you guys. We're the peasants. This is a class warfare. People want to talk about race war and stuff. Yeah, they want that because they don't want to talk about the classism that is happening in this country. And that is something, at least in European countries, I have to say that, they talk about classism and definitely in the UK, and it's really bad there. So we were talking about the royal family. God damn, it's getting dark. I can't see it myself. See, thank you, Jeff. I may not disagree with everything and every policies as you being a Republican and me being progressive, aka Democrat. But there is a difference between a Trumplican. I think we could agree on that, and the thing is, yeah. And Jeff even knows there are a lot of people out here that can read between the lines what's going on, with both parties, even, there's independents, but they really, unfortunately, they sway. But what's going on is class warfare, all these isms. And what I am appreciating, especially last month, before you won't really see, I mean, let me get this last point before I'm really going to fade into darkness. Put myself right here. What I do appreciate is Striketober, aka October. So a lot of companies, a lot of people, a lot of workers are going on strike and are still on strike. I think here the nurses are on strike. So people are fighting for higher wages. That is something that has crossed party lines. Actually, a lot of people in both parties want free healthcare. People need to check out these stats, but you have people in both parties because there's corporate interests, you guys. Corporate interests. Look up Citizens United. Citizens United said money is speech. And that's where we're at right now. I believe Citizens United passed in 2009 or 2010. So these are bribes. These are legal bribes. And they're bribing the American people, both parties. Now, them Trumplicans, that's a cult, y'all. That's a cult. They're Jim Jones, the Manson family, that I mean, it's nice to have a healthy disagreement about politics, but when it comes to a blood sport and very Civil War-ish, nah, dude. This is called that. Fascism is no way to go, guys. No way to go. Right. Because the working class, because we barely have a middle class. Brother, This was healthy dialogue. I am ghosting into the night. I want to thank everyone for coming up. Riot Girl, Shitty Greg, Jeff, thank you for coming up. Yeah. I don't think we're done yet, Jeff. That's the scary part. I don't think we're done. Who else? Trish. Who else came up here? Key Ramon. Yeah. People who are in the nosebleeds. Thank you. I am starting to disappear into the darkness. Can't you tell? Darkness is spreading. Darkness. Darkness. Oh, wait, hold on. So long, farewell, I'll get you in the end. So long, farewell, I'll meet you in the end. So long, farewell, I'll get you in the end. So long, farewell, I'll get you in the end. Darkness!